Hello, everyone. We have a post-Christmas special here. I'm joined by my longtime friend, united in the breed for over a decade now, Blaz Golob. He had the distinct honor of being the helper at the WSV Working Championship for the German Shepherd breed this past October, which is definitely a great honor to be selected and to perform at that level as a helper for the front half. So I would like to personally congratulate you for that again, my friend. And I just
Thank
want to
you.
go back a little bit in our history, if you want to take it away and tell the people how we met and here we are today, a decade and a half later.
Yeah. We met over the internet, if I remember correctly. I
Yes.
saw a dog of yours, which I really liked. I think it was Pistol,
Yes,
right?
it was Pistol.
I think it was
Yes.
Pistol. Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, I think I wrote something to you, something about the puppies or something. I don't know.
Yes.
Uh, then we started talking, and yeah,
It was
now,
the first Pistol litter from Villas.
yeah, right. I bred to Villas also. That's
Yes,
why.
that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, right. You remembered. I forgot this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew it was something about pistol, but I didn't know exactly what.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
funny now I
and
have the
now
next generation, two generations down from Pistol at this point.
I have nothing from Villas.
Yeah. Me neither.
Female wasn't pregnant.
Yeah. Well, shit happens.
Yeah, it does.
So
Yeah,
I'd
so
like to, so you
now
have a small kennel in Slovenia. Let's talk about your kennel and the second generation of your breeding program, human wise.
human wise, yeah. Yeah, I have a kennel. It's considered a small kennel for the world, but in Slovenia I'm still quite big. In the moment I have 12 dogs. My father started breeding in the early 70s. He was one of the first in Slovenia back then it was Yugoslavia, um,
Yes.
who
In the
started
Tito
like,
days.
yes, exactly, who started like doing this a little bit more seriously. It was still amateur level, but it was not easy to travel to Germany without knowing any German language,
Sure.
um, with the borders and everything, and doing this like he did it. So I'm quite proud of that. And
Yes.
I try to continue our family tradition because at this point it's a tradition.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's remarkably amazing, despite being the union, to be able to get to the German dogs and be able to breed and sustain a breeding program.
Yeah, compared to today, it was
Yes.
wild.
Yes,
He
exactly.
told me
Must have been a
stories
lot of
and
goose chases.
it was wild. Yeah.
Yeah. And you stood at the very center this or a couple of months ago of the protection phase front half of 120 plus dogs on the same field. Most people in the stands just see the circus and the applause, and you see the intent, the nerve, and the truth of what stands in front of you regarding the dogs. Before we dive into the details, what's the emotional reality of standing there, dog after dog after dog, knowing that your consistency defines the fairness of a world championship, which rests on your shoulders?
There's a lot of emotions for sure. Um, a lot. Although the emotions for me came um, more or less after the championship, a little bit after the selection, because of course I was
Yeah,
happy
yeah,
that I got selected. It was like a
right,
15-minute burst of emotions.
right.
But then I kind of switched it off, and it after the championship, like a day or two, then it hit me in reality what I achieved basically.
Yes,
Because this is, I think, if you're like a German Shepherd lover or a dog lover in general, WSV is like a pinnacle of what you can achieve in terms of helper work, at least for me.
yes, of course.
Um, and it's it's something I will remember for sure for the rest of my life. I'm really happy I got the chance to do it, and yeah, it's it was probably once in a lifetime opportunity. So
I wish you get to do it again. That would be so cool. But coming from a quote unquote
yeah.
small showline kennel as a showline breeder, you're not really I would say known on the social media circles as a big famous helper that is doing seminars and this and that. So how was that adrenaline rush getting to be on that main stage, getting to work all these dogs that are the creme de la creme of their countries which they represent?
Yeah, a lot of people didn't expect it for me to be there. Although I was selected for 2 FCI championships in
That's
the
right.
last 2 years.
That's right.
And I have many friends also in the working world. Of
Yes.
course, I also breed working dogs now.
Yes.
And so it was still, so to speak, my people. But I'm
Right.
sure there were quite a few faces like surprised, you
Right.
know.
No, I mean, all German Shepherd
Um,
people are technically our people, but just saying they're running slightly different circles than the
yeah,
circles
of
that
course,
we
of
know.
course.
So it must have been quite a
It,
rush.
yeah, it was. I was even happier because
Right.
I don't know. It's for me, it's still like
Being David in the
a
biblical
little,
context there.
yeah, being a little bit special coming from the show world to the
Yes.
working world, and
Exactly. Yes.
not many people do that. So
Right. Absolutely. So how do you prepare mentally for the task of facing that many elite dogs in a day? Is it a routine? Is it muscle memory or something that's deeper that you had to switch on to keep your picture consistent for every single dog?
um, the preparation is mostly it's the mentality, and for me, it was, how should I say? I knew if I was physically ready enough, I would be also mentally ready,
Right.
prepared, prepared. So I did a lot of training. I did a lot of trainings with dogs, a lot of gym workouts, a lot of cardio, a lot of this and that to be like, really, really physically ready, because
Yes.
especially the first part is really hard.
Yes.
It's not easy.
Yes.
A lot of dogs, a lot of fighting dogs. Also, we tend to train now for the dog to really fight the helper, and
Yes.
the shepherds know how to do this very good.
Especially in the
Um,
escape.
yes, so
Yeah.
the legs suffer, the arms suffer, the shoulders, everything
The
is
lower
like,
back.
also, yeah. So
Yeah.
I did a lot of training for my physical stamina,
Yeah.
and I felt that I was ready, so I basically had no problems. I mean, sure, there was some muscle pain, but that's normal. That always
Right. Just fatigue.
that's inevitable. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. So
yeah.
do you feel a sense of rhythm develop throughout the day, or is it a full reset for every single dog?
Yeah, you kind of have to reset. You kind of have to. I mean, the rhythm is also there. The rhythm kind of picks up after the first or second group of dogs. You know, this is the start of the championship. Everybody's a little bit nervous. The competitors, the organizers, the helpers, of course, also. You don't want to do a mistake or fuck something up
Yeah.
right in
Yeah.
the first group, because obviously nobody wants to do
Not
that.
just that, you have to
So,
make sure that whatever picture you're providing to the dog in the front group, you have to provide the same picture to them in the last group as well throughout the
of
flights of
course,
dogs.
of course, of course,
So you
and
can't blow your
that's
load
very,
on the first 10 dogs and then, give 50% to the rest of them.
sure, you have to be smart enough to start with a level that is still a championship level and still okay, and that deep inside of yourself that you can maintain that level for 5 days.
Yeah. Just to have it
This is the important
sustainably
part.
presented throughout.
Yes, of course.
So what do you do when the lactic acid builds up and the fatigue sets in? And how do you protect the dog's chances from your own human limits?
You can't do much. You just have to
Just dig down deep.
bear with the pain and go with it. But
So
yeah,
let's
it's not. I mean, this is, you can't be affected by this.
right.
It's like you have to, your mind has to control the body.
Yeah.
So you
So
have to just say, yeah, I'm going forward, and you go. Doesn't matter.
So when we do a technical analysis and in the art of consistency, from your vantage point, what defines a perfect entry for the front half? So how would you describe the entire front half from entry on as it progresses? What would be a perfect front half for you?
Well, I'm gonna be a bit boring here
Yeah,
because
let's be
a
boring. We
perfect
got
a
all the
perfect
time.
entry for me is like what is in the textbook.
Yeah,
So a powerful barking guard, challenging the helper also, in not just in, when the bites come, but also in the demeanor of the dog, how
but
he.
those are like let me stop you there. Those are arbitrary terms. Challenging the helper or strong barking. It means different things to different people. What does it mean to
Sure.
you?
It means that you can see the dog, he means business, because you
Yeah.
can see the types of training, and you can
Yeah.
see in between the types of training, you can see also, in let's put it this way, into the core of the dog, if you're so close.
Right.
And you can see, it's hard to describe, but you can see dogs that, like, when they come to the blind, they are really holding you there. They're not
Right.
just barking. You can see it in the eyes, in the posture, in the
The
energy
demeanor.
level they put out. Yes, you can see it. So this is what I meant with the.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I know
So
it says in the textbook, but
right. I'm sure you were because most of the people surprisingly haven't read the textbook.
yeah.
Been titling dogs for 20 years, haven't read the rules really.
You would be surprised how many people don't.
Yes, exactly. So the next thing I wanted to ask you is again, was there some dogs that you were surprised that, oh, wow, this is amazing that this was top five dog from the last championship or top three dog or top 10 dog that's supposed to be, the best in the world and was surprisingly underwhelming?
Um, I'm not sure with, like with exactly your question with the placements or something, but I know
No, the
what you
exemption
mean
would
in
be that if
general.
if
There
it's a
was.
dog if it's a dog that's in the top 10 positions in the world,
Yeah,
or if the
yeah.
dog's done exceedingly well, there's like a big profile on social media. Now we have that, it's got its own fan group that everybody's talking and raving. Has got about 2,000
Yeah, sure.
ratings in the last six
The
months. Yes,
hype
the hype
exists.
dogs.
Yeah,
Exactly.
there were a few dogs that I thought to myself, well, okay, good dog, but not exceptional.
Right.
And there were, of course, it's you. It's almost 130 dogs. You get a lot of
Yes.
different dogs, and some surprised me, some a little bit disappointed me, some were like really average, didn't expect nothing, and got
Right.
nothing. So it's really, every dog is a different story.
And were there moments when you thought that this dog's targeting or the fight or the picture the dog was presenting was exceptional or otherwise as they took the line? Were there some standouts in your mind? We don't need to name dogs. Just
Uh,
for that they have to call you and pay
uh,
you.
yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the first part of the question. My sound for
I
some reason
said,
didn't.
were there some moments that you thought that this dog's targeting or fighting picture was exceptional or otherwise
Oh,
as they took the line?
yeah, sure. There are a lot of moments like this when when you stand there for getting ready for the judge's signal to go and
Right.
do the escape. A lot of things you notice, and a lot of things happen. Um, and yeah, sure, there were some dogs that were like, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe you think to yourself, "Wow, this is not gonna end well," or like, "This looks like I have to be twice as ready as I was at the
R-
last dog, and
Right.
it's there are always dogs who you can see when they start running after
Yes.
you. You
Yes.
can see how's it gonna go already. There are
Right.
them.
Right. Right. From the intensity of the dog. And were there some air balls? Let's not mention names again. Just some air balls that you think that were, that were supposed to be exceptional, but didn't quite measure up.
Yeah, there were a few dogs that were like, wow, uh, I expected more. There were
Right.
like, I don't know, from the top of my head, 3, 4, maybe. I was
Sure.
really surprised. Very
So,
good training.
right, right. Exceptional Facebook reels.
Yes.
So let's jump in the mud right away since we talked about the escape. The escape setup was supposedly for a few a little bit controversial. Much ado was made about it right after the championship on social media. Would you like to shine some light on that subject?
Mm. I read all the controversy. I was there live. For me,
Yeah, no shit.
the escape
You were
the
literally in the
escape
middle of the action.
was very, very nicely set up. I mean,
Yes.
when you were there and the judge was setting this up, I thought to myself, wow, this is a nice angle. The dog shouldn't have a problem.
Yeah.
Um, I, I thought to myself, I will have more problems than the dogs, but turned out that actually a lot of dogs had problems. And I don't know exactly or specifically what was the reason, but a lot of dogs had problems.
Yeah. Maybe it's the angle or the perception of the escape that the helpers caught right away, or was it that the helper actually took off this time? Because we had a similar happenstance here at the GSDCA National Championship when a
I
couple of years
saw.
ago, a helper outran 4 or 5 dogs, and they were just biting air behind him because they didn't realize the helper would take off with such pressure.
And this year was also quite interesting, I saw. In the
Yes.
nationals. Yeah, a lot
Yes.
of dogs missed the sleeve and
Yeah.
yeah, didn't catch the helper again. But this year, I think it was a lot of like competitions where the I don't remember years before that so many dogs on so many competitions or championships or whatever would miss bites or barely catch the helper in the elbow or whatever. Uh,
Yeah.
I noticed that this year it was more of
Yeah.
this.
I don't recall in the last decade seeing this ever that the escape was the controversy. Normally it's the long bite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I funny.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not for them, but now
Yeah,
in retrospect,
of
you can
course.
think about it.
If
Yeah.
you're a competitor, it's not funny, but I mean the general picture of this year, it was like I watched the Golden League. Um,
Yeah.
there were quite a few misses there in all the competitions. I mean, not just like one or the other. Um, the WSV, your nationals, it was a lot of competitions where the dogs had problems.
And then you see some handlers built dogs to the helper sleeve picture that they're used to, I'd say. Others are training for independent action from the dog. How that how did that difference make you feel when you see so many of so-called of the world's finest, and of course, even as a spectator for so many other championships, and having also worked 2 world championships previously?
Um, well, you can see the training in the dogs.
Yeah,
You can see the training, you can see the good training, and you can also see the bad training,
right,
and you can also see the good dogs.
right,
Because
right,
a
right.
good dog, no matter the training, he will catch you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't matter what you do, he will catch you because you can. No human being can normally outrun a dog.
Two
You
legs
know,
versus four.
of course, and I think it's a trend we have in training now. Um, that we talked previously is happening.
Yes.
Everybody's like training for this specific picture that they want to show. You know, the dog catching the grip in this and this point, and then immediately stopping the helper. And I think subconsciously in trainings we are helping the dogs a lot. And when you don't, and when you go full power, the dog then has a problem because he's not used to it.
Right.
I don't know. This is just my opinion, but
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't see what
that's
else
all we
could be
can give
wrong.
is. So it's less about actually catching the bad guy and more about a circus that the dog is catching the grip and he's turning the helper around, potentially dropping its weight on its back legs to fight against the helper to pull the sleeve off, kind of. I think it started. Everybody saw that video from Bordy Blendy, and everybody wanted to show the Bordy Blendy picture with their dogs.
Of course, we all strive for that. A strong dog that stops the helper, and
right. But
the fact is, some dogs have this in them genetically, and some don't.
Right.
That
so we're
makes
trying
a
to make a
difference.
circus. It's like when you're trying to make a circus instead of, and forgetting the original intent of the exercise is to literally apprehend the helper. Because of course, in a trial situation, you've got this giant sleeve on and scratch pants on. Of course, once the dog comes, you're going to still keep on going. In real life, there's no sleeve. So when the dog bites somebody, immediately the guy's going to go to the ground. But when you're trying to make that picture with scratch pant and suits, and then you have to help the dog a little bit, and then we're stuck helping the dog too much, that is genetically not as talented or gifted in this area, let's say, that he wants to prevent that escape, or he wants to, fight for the sleeve, or he's not so motivated in prey that he wants to, potentially stop the helper there to take the sleeve right there from him, and doesn't have the size sometimes, because Bordy was also a gigantic dog.
Yeah,
he's the size of a Saint Bernard for a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
And most of the dogs are medium-sized dogs, as the breed standard dictates. So it's not really physically possible for those dogs to just put their weight down, bear their weight down, and stop a guy.
Not. They can try, and they can, show fight, and that's very nice. But
right,
not like you said. Not all dogs can actually stop.
Yep. In previous years, we've seen females winning the world championships. They didn't really, quote unquote, stop the helper, but they showed excellent drive and fight on the sleeve to prevent the escape. That's, the escape was naturally prevented. If the dog's on your sleeve, the escape is prevented. Simple as that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how consistent across the 120 plus dogs did you feel the picture was as far as training goes that you were able to see? And how would you measure that consistency? Because it's still the same routine for everybody.
Yeah, sure. Should be.
Yeah.
Should be.
Yes.
You mean in terms of my consistency, or
your consistency, and just the quality of dogs is what I'm trying to get at.
I think I was pretty consistent. Yes. I can say that. I'm not usually a person to toot my own horn, but I was consistent at this championship.
Yeah, I think so too.
I didn't make any major mistakes or something. I'm very happy with the job I did, and also a lot of people came and congratulated me after for like good work in general.
Yeah. Oh, so 100%. I'd like to just interject here and say every single dog that I saw, because I was watching online, there was nothing done over the top. There was no special gimmicks or tricks. Every dog was safely worked in the same manner over and over and over again from the start to the finish, so which I can appreciate as as being a spectator watching that.
Thank you. I tried, because the point is everybody has the same the same picture. You should have the same level of consistency, work, and everything, so everybody has the same chances. That's the point of the championship.
Absolutely.
The helper shouldn't be the one who to decide who's better and who's not. This should be the judge. The helper is just literally his
conduit. Is the conduit.
Right? So yeah. As far as the training goes, it's the consistency. I don't know. I mean, it's you can see some trends in trainings and maybe training styles, because a lot of dogs have very similar problems or very similar techniques or whatever. But I would say it's I don't know. I talked with a few especially with one very, very good helper. I'm not gonna name him, but for me, he's the top of the top.
He knows who he is.
Yeah, and we talked before the championship, and he said he's like, for me, he also did the WUSV.
Yeah,
For
I think
me,
I know what you're talking about.
there are like 10 to 15 really top dogs.
Yes.
And the rest is average, and it depends on the training of the dog.
Right.
And I kind of agree. I didn't really know I didn't really understand what he was talking about, but now I do, because it really was something like that.
Yes.
Or maybe it's like the Gauss curve,
Right.
You could put it into that, like 10 to 15 really top dogs, 10 to 15 really lousy dogs, and in between it's the average, and it depends how much, you train and how good you train. So
humanity pre-social media.
Exactly.
So going from there, we talk about the dogs having, some superior dogs, most middle of the road dogs, and some not so great dogs. The strength, the nerve, and the trends that we just spoke about. This is, valuable data for breeding and the training community. This is not your first world championship, as we spoke. You've done 2 previous FCI championships. Compared to the past championships, did you notice a trend? First we mentioned the escape bites, more controlled position, or did you see more raw fighting drive in the dogs over the course of the 3 championships?
It's hard to compare because, first of all, I did 1 FCI championship. The first part, the second FCI championship, I was selected, but in the end, I was a reserve.
Right.
And the third one was obviously the WUSV.
Yeah.
But the main difference was that in the first championship I did, it was like really insanely hot. And I think that also affects the dog a lot, because in that championship, maybe like 3-4 dogs were trying to stop the helper. Others were just like biting on and holding and doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And on this championship, I noticed that a lot of dogs had a lot of fight drive in them. It was also a lot cooler. So I think that had a role also. Sure. And the fact that they're shepherds, they're bigger, they're stronger. That's, because at the FCI, it's shepherds.
More Malinois.
Mostly Malis, and some
Dutch shepherds, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that played a major role in this. The dogs had more fuel in them.
Yeah.
If it's really training, I don't know. It's 2 years since I did the FCI championship. Maybe people give like more value now to the fight in the escape and trying to stop the helper than they did 2 years ago. That I don't know. Maybe that's possible. But otherwise, that's the main thing I noticed.
And the top 10 group of dogs that we discussed, like the 10, 15 dogs, that's the most impressive, most genetically gifted, etc., and the most well-trained. Were you surprised by something in the group, let's say middle of the road, that they didn't, score as high, that they were, not at the top of the bell curve with their points, but genetically they were really gifted dogs, just maybe hampered by the quality of training or the consistency of training, or some mishap that happened during the trial that they could not score as high?
It's a lot of times like that. The best genetic dogs are not always the best scorers of points.
Yeah.
If you have a really hard dog, you can ask a few people. It's probably a real pain in the ass to make a clean out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that costs a lot of points, and it's always a struggle with these really hard dogs. But maybe it's because I'm primarily a breeder. I differentiate these dogs, and like, this is a really good dog. I don't need to breed the Ziegler. I need to breed this dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Although also with the Ziege, you can get some,
Yeah,
if it's an average dog who wins, that means the dog is highly trainable,
yeah, absolutely.
and you can also use this to your advantage.
Yeah, maybe you
But
have a really hard bloodline with really hard, strong dogs, then you can use that dog that is really trainable and more affable towards the handler, or as
yeah,
they say, soft to the handler a little bit, that you can mold better.
yeah, it's at the end of the day, we are doing a sport,
Yeah,
and you need a specific kind of sport dog to get good points, right?
100%.
Although in my eyes, we need all. We need
Yeah,
the
yeah.
really hard ones. We need a little more trainable dogs, and
Because
this
it's the
is
law
how
of
we should
diminishing returns. If
continue.
you just keep breeding one type, then you're going to just trend towards that type more and more. And the next generation oftentimes does not imbibe the qualities of the previous generation.
Yes, yes. It's always a little bit of a lottery, also.
Yeah, that's true. That is
If you
true.
lose,
The right
sometimes it's nice to
keeping the
have a
right
good
one
dog,
too.
who can
Yeah.
up your chances.
Yes, absolutely. And it's also like when you're breeding a litter, it's always like, did I keep the right one, or is that sitting in some pet home, on the
That's
couch?
always a question.
Yeah. So, in your experience in this championship, how often does a dog that gives you like a holding match in its confrontation, whether it's the hold and bark, or whether it's the transitions, or whether it's the approach, that you were like, oh, this is really impressive? What was the judge looking for, and which dogs were able to deliver that picture, and what is the exact picture that the judge was asking you to present?
Um, if you want to know exactly what the judge was asking, you should ask him.
No, no, no.
uh,
My question was as you interpreted it, because I'm sure he gave you instructions, right?
uh, yeah, of course. You get instructions at every championship,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
every judge has a little bit of his own tweaks. But I
Sure.
think, it was nothing special here. Just keep the work consistent, certain level of pressure, and yeah, good luck.
Right,
That
right.
that was basically it, right? No, nothing
So,
special, no fancy tricks, nothing. Um, uh, the I think that the dogs who scored good points really deserve them.
yeah,
In my opinion, there were quite a few dogs who had really excellent protections, and they also got excellent, and it was well deserved.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so some dogs, of course, they got a little less points because they
Sure.
did mistakes or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but still good dogs. The descriptions were on point for me.
Right, right. So were there some dogs that you're like, okay, yeah, the grips of this dog were really powerful, or there was transitions that were really excellent, where you could feel the power of the dog. You can see the nerve in that position. You can see the nerve from the eyes, from the way the dog is carrying itself. If the dog is happy to be there to protect against you, or the dog's like, oh, he's coming, come on, come get me. But the barking is very energetic and forceful. But you being in front of him, you can feel the pressure of the grip. You can feel the quality of the grip. You can feel how he's biting, if he's trying to, get away from you or actually fighting you. Were there moments like that? That's the heart of what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah,
Or
yeah, of
whether he's
course there
just
were
there.
moments like that. Yeah, when
Yeah.
you stop and you're waiting for the out command, and the dog is like fixated in the sleeve with a grip so strong you can see the sleeve bending,
Yeah.
totally calm, just waiting.
Yeah.
Of course, there were quite a few like that. The routine is long, so there was also a dog could have very good transition phases, but make
Yeah.
some other mistakes
Yeah. 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 Of
somewhere else,
course.
But of course,
Yes.
there were dogs who really showed like great dominance, great stability,
Yeah.
fantastic grips. There were quite a few. There were quite a few actually where you
Personally,
can
for
say,
me,
"Wow, this dog has something genetic in him."
yes. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to ask. It's like, personally, for me, I'm not interested in the bean counting, where it could be a little bit this, or the grit could be 5/10 of a centimeter fuller, blah, blah, blah. I'm not interested in that. It's like if the dog's biting with pressure, with intensity, and with intent towards the helper, that's what we're really looking for at the end of the day for a breeding dog. could
Yeah,
give a shit what if it scored 95 or 93 or 91 or 89, depending on the transitions
exactly.
or what it might be. I'm looking for if there were some that you're like, oh, I'm going to be taking my female to this guy.
There were a few. There were definitely a few, and I'm just doing some thinking about because which dog I'm gonna take my female to now because she's gonna
Right,
be in heat very soon,
right.
and I, I've been doing some research on working dog for the last few days.
So, what exactly? I mean, don't name the names again. Like I said, they have to call you and pay you for you to tell them the names. But, but what exactly was it that impressed you about those dogs, and what was it not? Let's say, some quote unquote excellent dogs from the other championships that didn't quite measure up as a breeder,
uh,
of course.
the good dogs in this championship, the ones I was impressed with, one was like extremely strong ribs, extremely hard dog, extreme fight drive. Uh, he was not the it was not the cleanest routine,
Sure.
but I didn't really care about that because he impressed me
Right.
with his power so much.
Yes, exactly.
Um, the rest were not as strong or as fighting or crazy, but
Hmm.
you could see you could see the dominance. You could see they meant business. The grips were still very hard,
Yeah.
and also they had excellent scores or very close to excellent. So it means
Right.
they're also very trainable.
Yes.
And this is what I like an all-round dog. He can be
Yes.
hard, but also trainable. It's not.
Yes.
This is not necessarily just one or the other.
Yes.
It's rare, but it can
But
be.
we're
It can
looking for
happen.
those gems. We're looking for those
Yeah,
gems.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they had a lot of these things that I like to get into my lines. Like the most important is the stable grips, calm grips.
Yes. Yes.
Strong also. This is
Yes.
equally as important, strong and calm.
Yeah.
Because if you have this, then you can work on basically everything without maybe this is going to be not the best way to describe it, but without problems.
Yeah, of
Okay.
course. So if you have a dog that's constantly pushing in, pushing in, pushing in into the helper, of course it's a strong dog, but it's not ideal for the
It's
sport.
it's much easier for the nerves on the handler and the helper
Yeah.
to train this kind of dog, right?
Yeah.
The,
Or there's a
this
dog
is a
that's
better
like,
way to say it.
right, exactly. Or there's a dog that's growling and shaking and fighting and just basically just trying to pull the sleeve away. That also does not make for a
Yeah.
good time to train
And
that
it can
dog.
be a very good dog, but
Yeah.
too crazy in the head.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it bleeds
Uh,
over in other areas like your dumbbells and all these places. You see the remnants of these
yeah.
issues. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a mental state and it shows
exactly.
in a lot of pictures.
And again, we discussed this briefly before. Did you notice any trends in training? We can go into a little bit more depth as you look back at the championship that you might consider toxic to the picture of the working German Shepherd when we're looking for strictly breeding dogs and not a circus.
Toxic.
Like
I
we
don't know.
discussed,
It's
trying to make Bordy Blendies out of dogs that are not.
well, yeah. I mean,
That does not do the dog any favors. It's an
you
artificial
could
picture.
call
It
that
doesn't do the
toxic.
breeder any favors.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
say it's. Yeah, sure. I agree, but I wouldn't maybe call it toxic. I mean, in the end, it's just training. The genetic value of the dog doesn't go any lower. If you know what
yeah,
I
no, for
want to
sure.
say,
But
it's of
the
course it's
problem
not
is
good.
like it's the age old debate. You're going back and forth about we talked about this offline and multiple times we've spoken about this. I'm not looking to breed to the Seeger, but a lot of people are only looking at scorebooks or podium finishes. It's like, oh, because I got to sell puppies, so this dog
Of
I
course,
bred to
and
the
it
number one
always be
dog and
will
blah
be
blah
like
blah.
that.
Yeah, exactly. So which is so the people are trying to build towards that picture where I can be on the podium. And of course, nobody competes to lose, and it hurts to lose,
Of
right?
course.
We've both
Of
been
course.
there. It's not fun. And it's what, though, but we're trying to have an honest conversation without, naming names or whatever. Just at a philosophical level or at a technical level, we're not trying to discuss people or their dogs. We're trying to discuss trends, where the sport's going, what we're actually trying to do, what's the blueprint of it all, and because we want to make this grow and not, end with us, kind of, as everything just seems to shrink down.
It's a trend, but the trend changes. The trend a few years back was like the Malinois healing, where the dog is like,
with the spine bent like this.
Yeah, and that's not a trend anymore. I mean, people don't train like that anymore.
Right.
For some reason,
Thankfully.
also because of the judges' penalties.
Thank God. Yeah, exactly.
They started to not train like that anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we take, for example, the escapes, I think maybe in a few years it will be a little bit different.
Right.
So I don't think that really changes the. I always look at this through genetics.
Yes.
You said, a lot of people want to breed to the Ziegler, but let me tell you something. From all the good dogs at this championship, not one missed the bite.
That's true. That is very true.
All the good dogs got a good grip in this game.
That's true.
All the
that
good
is
dogs.
True. That didn't matter the angle, didn't matter the path that was ran, didn't matter how the sleeve was carried.
So I don't think that really affects the majority. Yes. It's a trend that will probably, if we take into consideration that we are theoretically speaking and we are right, that this is a trend, I think it will, in few years, it will change.
Of course, we are right.
But the good dogs will, the good dogs will still stay.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. The problem is for me, the skills we have today in training.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
We can really do some precise training, and we can mask a lot in training. Okay. True. I'm not saying this is bad. This is wonderful that we got.
No, that was the next thing I was coming to. Yeah. Go ahead, finish your point, and then I'll come back to that.
It's a wonderful thing that we know so much about training today, and we train so good, and it's also better for the dogs. It's much less
100%,
much less pain for the dogs.
100%, absolutely.
Everything, but sometimes you can mask a lot of things with this.
Yep. And
this is for me like the bigger problem. If we talk about hard dogs and genetically strong dogs, and this is what makes dogs today. I think our knowledge makes dogs today a little less hard, or how should I call it?
It's the difference between dressage horses and war horses.
Yeah.
So we speak about this often. We're looking for it. So a lot of dogs are, toy obsessed and ball obsessed, going to the other phases, let's say obedience for that matter, because it's a 3-phase sport. We're also looking at dogs that are easy to do obedience with. And of course, we've developed dogs at this point that are more ball crazy than they're obsessed with the handler. Like anybody could just shove the ball in their armpit and walk out with that exact same dog and create a somewhat similar picture of already trained picture, which didn't really used to be the case. And there's some dogs still like that are working for their handler. They of course they'll take the ball and they'll fight for the ball and all that stuff, but they're really looking for that connection with that handler. That is the dog that wants to be with you, that wants to work with you. We're losing a lot of that in the quote unquote working dog today. We're looking at more and more dogs obsessed with toy obsessed dogs. And Wilfred Schell said that to a friend of mine, Mr. AJ Singh, a while back, when he asked, what would you change about, or where do you think there's a problem with the dogs today? And Wilfred said to him, it's like, we've got dogs that are really ball crazy and ball driven, which is a great thing for training, but they don't really care about their handler. Like you could throw the ball and this is not like a dog that's not a Schutzhund, He's not a Schutzhund dog. He
Yeah.
is a sport dog. So, do you have any
Yeah,
comments on
but at
that?
the end of the day, it's a sport. So
Yeah, no, of
we
course, but we're
we
looking for the genetic
it,
caliber of a dog that is more than the sport. We're not just. That's when we get into the trouble where a lot of these other dogs are, where the categories become really, you've got the blinders on. Then this is what I'm breeding. The dog needs to be obsessive about the ball. Like he will every time. Doesn't matter if he's about to die from heat stroke. You throw the ball one more time, he's going to go after that ball, even if it's 105 degrees outside.
yeah, sure. I mean, I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I can see your point and I agree with it. But still, it's a sport and people will
right.
always go into that direction, because this means it's an easier job because you will be
Yeah.
surprised how many handlers don't have a connection with their dogs.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about. This is,
And
I think
that's
it's a bit of
harder
an epidemic.
to make, but the really good trainers, they still know how to do it, and
Yeah,
you can also see the difference in the healing and the free healing and in basically every demeanor of the dog that he has in obedience. You can see the
yeah,
difference.
yeah.
Maybe the dogs who are crazy about the ball look flashy because they, it's like uh how do you call it, marching horses, the
Yeah. The Lipids
yeah,
honors.
yeah. Um, it looks good, but I think yeah, it's still a difference, and you can see it, and the good breeders can see it.
Right.
The people who know how to breed,
Yes.
the
Few
rest,
and far
it's
between.
same old story
Yeah.
since the beginning
No,
of
I'm
time.
not talking about, the heroes of the breed like Ronnie or Knut Fuchs or somebody who are, the stars in the sport or, expert trainers like Toby. I'm not talking about these guys. I'm talking about just a run of the mill person who's, because not all these dogs are going to end up in sport hands. Of course, they're breeding for sport. You have a litter of
Yeah, of
10,
course,
12
not
puppies.
everyone.
Maybe there's one puppy that is going to check all the boxes, and your fingers across that it lands in the right home, or you keep it and you do all the right things with it for it to grow, to that level. It gets its testicles, hips and elbows are good, spine's good, this, that. We've got a million checks that we have to go through for each
And
dog.
the teeth.
And the teeth, of course, and the eyes and the ears, everything to have the proper dog at the end of the day that we can hopefully make a V rating and a breed survey and compete at a very high level with that dog, whether it's work or whether we're showing in breed fancy with all the checks and balances that we've had put in our breed. I'm talking about those other 11 puppies that are most probably going to land up in families with children, with other dogs, with cats, and all these things. And you've got these obsessive dogs that don't get, maybe they get, one couple of fetch throws, or they go on a hike here and there with their owners, and they've got busy lives, and they've got these wound up freaking Tasmanian devils in their house that are destroying everything. They want to bite people because the dogs are obsessive, and they can't find an outlet for their energy, and they become problem dogs when they're not really problem dogs. They're purpose bred dogs. And then we go on and say, oh yeah, but everybody shouldn't be breeding or owning these dogs. Well, then what do we plan to do with these dogs? What, do you drown them?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But I think it's a difference. I mean, a lot of dogs can be ball obsessed.
Yeah,
It's how they act in their environment. That's that's the difference between a stable dog
yeah.
and an unstable dog with high drives.
The
That's usually the
the off
troublemaker.
switch, the off switch.
Yeah,
You have the
yeah, because
nerve
the
base of the
shepherd
dog
should
is so
be a
important.
dog that is aroused when needed to and relaxed
Yes,
when there is no
indeed, indeed,
threat, right?
indeed. But yeah,
So stability and stability again. This is what I
yes,
look for in my dogs and also the breeding partners that I choose for my females.
yes,
Because even if you have a very high driven dog, if he's stable and like normal in the head,
yeah,
he will still be able to function.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I live with a
but
couple of them.
in the
Yeah, for
latest year,
sure.
in the late years, yeah, we bred a lot of nervy dogs,
Yes,
and the nervy dogs have extremely high prey drive,
yes.
and
And the energy, the active energy that we're looking for in the obedience, or the judges that are rewarding that active energy, like, that energy
yeah,
comes only from nerve. That's the and the dogs that are so easy to agitate in protection because helpers don't want to work hard, so you want a dog with thin nerves. You just look at it wrong and it goes and it lights up, and it's so easy to make super barking with and all, and he's biting with pressure, and he's like crushing the sleeve. But it's got
Yeah.
it's got 4 more litter mates that have got to be around 3-year-old children and with a thin nerve base, or they'll have friends that visit them from kindergarten, and this dog is loose in the house, and the owner is an unsuspecting fool. And then there's an accident, and the child loses its nose or a lip or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I tried to breed, as I told you, stable dogs.
Yeah, no,
And
no.
I really, I
I'm
mean,
not talking
I guess
about
these
you. I'm
things will
talking about the
happen.
state in general. Yes.
Yeah. I guess these kinds of things will happen. I think we in the like I don't know 30 years ago, 40 maybe, we had
Yeah.
similar problems but for different reasons.
Before our time.
Yeah. Uh, because back then the dogs were different,
Yes.
but they were
Yeah.
different. They
I
were
know exactly what you
they
mean.
didn't have as high drive,
Yes.
but they had like the mentality of leave me alone.
Yeah.
Okay, not everyone, but
They were more
theoretically
aloof.
speaking, this was the majority.
Yes.
The at least
They
in
were
our
more like
country, the
farm
old
dogs.
school shepherd was like always angry and always and a really
Right.
hard dog and didn't want to do stuff, and then you had to
Like a
yank him, and then
criminal.
you had to yeah.
Yeah.
And he was always growling and didn't like foreign people, and yeah. So it was
Racism built into the dog.
strangers. I meant strangers. Just for to
I'm
clear
joking.
clear it out.
I'm joking.
And yeah, there was. I don't. If we're talking about living in the family and stuff like that, it was also a lot of fights.
Yes.
But for totally different reasons. And yeah, I mean, these problems in the breed, I think, will always exist because this is a trend in breeding.
Yeah.
In 10 years, who knows what we will get?
Right.
It's maybe we will have a totally different type of dog because 10 years can be like 3-4 generations easily.
Easily.
5 in theory.
Yeah.
So in 5 generations, that you can change a lot.
For sure.
Right?
Absolutely. You can completely change the face of the breed in 2 generations.
Yeah. And it's also like in this championship, I noticed that we had a lot of also these nervous type of dogs.
Yeah.
Who had like sometimes Mali-like behavior in the protection, like nervous grips, and you know what I mean. And I didn't know this.
Can you go
before.
into a little bit more detail about that, just for the audience in general?
They were nervous dogs. They were nervous shepherds that I didn't expect them to be. And you could see it in the grips. It manifested the most there. The barrage of barking. This is usually the first thing that comes. The really hectic barking. And then you can see it in the grips under pressure and yada yada yada. But it was a higher number of dogs like this than I expected, and I don't like this. The shepherd shouldn't be like this. But I guess this is what we were searching for, and this is what we got. And who knows? In 10 years, maybe we'll have something different. I think this thing kind of steers itself, and the good ones survive, and these are a few good lines that will probably keep going, keep pushing in breeding.
I mean, in theory, the good ones survive. We can see what's going on in the show lines and kind of see we've, gone a completely different direction.
If you ask, there, the good ones also survive.
Depends on who you're asking.
Of course. But, you're right. In some sense, you're right. Although I think it's different here in working dogs. In show dogs, we have other very specific problems in
Yeah,
working dogs
that's
were
for a
still
different
not there.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could take a long time to discuss.
Yeah, I know. A multi-series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'll just talk about, just briefly on the subject while we're broaching it. You had this dog Odax from your breeding, from
Yeah.
a really nice above average quality male from Germany, Max from Margit. And
Yes.
this for me, I mean, despite their, physical limitations or anatomical fashionable limitations that might have them overlooked by the masses, I think these were really, really, really good German Shepherd that fit the bill across the board for the golden middle, what we're looking for. A good working dog that is a good family companion, that is a good looking dog that can work, really nicely in the family, on the field, and exist in life. And
Yeah.
and I don't feel that modern IGP protection or obedience or just the modern IGP sport is testing for the essence of the shepherd with the nerve, courage, or initiative, or it's become too controlled, too circusy, and too technical. Because it would filter these dogs out at the highest level.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. But again, it comes. We're people, and people tend to go to extreme stuff,
Yes,
And
of
in
course.
every sport, every category, everything we do, the extremes win, basically.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
you know, so um, it's kind of inevitable that these things happen.
right.
But again, it. I mean, I understand it from both sides. I
Sure.
don't like what's happening. Yeah, the shepherd and the standard is a lot of times very different from what we have in front of you, right?
Yes.
Um, so that's not, let's call it, not the best.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's
But
it's again not
again,
to
for this
point a finger
specific
at
thing we
somebody.
are
It's we're
searching
talking about
for,
a trend. Yeah.
yeah, it's what will happen. It's what will inevitably happen. It's,
Yes.
if people want the fastest, the most explosive dog, they will breed for that dog because that's what the judges, for example, give the best points to, and
Yeah.
everybody wants a winner, and everybody will go search for this dog. And you know, uh, dogs 30, 40 years ago, the top dogs were very different from today's dogs, and they were
100%.
considered top
100%.
dogs back then. But also
Yes.
the people were a little bit different, and the mentality of what people wanted was a little bit different.
Yeah.
And we always
I
come
mean,
back to
they wore
this.
parachute pants for crying out loud.
Yeah, yeah. We always come back to this slalom of trends that we go around and around. And I think the main thing is that we keep a course. Yeah, there is many ways to Rome. You just have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
keep
Keep the
keep your
course.
eyes on Rome, right?
Yeah,
um
absolutely.
and if if you want to get a specific type of dog, you can still get it. I mean, for example, you can get a lot of stable dogs. They will not be winners, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe also, I don't know, but you can still get
Depending on
them.
the judge appreciating the quality.
And
So I
I
think
think that,
the current system produces a lot of bean counters for judges.
yeah, of course, but again, it will always be like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the it
No, there was a time when you'd see judges say, find the quality of the dog, find the category, and then find the points for that category, right? And that was a breeding
it
mentality for
should
the
be like
judge.
that.
Yeah.
It should be like
So
that. But again, you have good and bad judges.
yes, no,
So the
exactly,
good judges
exactly.
will still
Naya.
reward the best points, right?
Yes,
Yeah. I mean, I have no problems with diversity and varieties in the
yes,
breed, as
yeah. Of
long as
course, it's
they're
healthy.
like in
It's actually healthy.
some golden middle, if you want to call
Yeah,
it like that.
right, right.
Um, I don't think that's anything wrong with that, but I don't like when the whole route like turns sideways, and then you have a
For the
problem.
points they lose German Shepherd characteristics, I think I have a problem with that in its essence.
Yeah, sure,
You know,
sure, but I can assure you that there were dogs at the championships who still had a lot of German Shepherd characteristics, and I liked
uh,
them a lot.
that was
They're
also,
still there,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it is true that it's hard to see.
yes,
It's hard to
it's
see
getting
if
less frequent, is what I'm talking about.
yeah, that of course that's for sure. It's getting
Especially
less
in America,
frequent, that's for
I'm
sure.
looking at dogs in America, and for the most part, and for at the end of the day, still the best. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, when you're looking at high quality breeding German Shepherds, you still have to look to Europe. There's no doubt about that. When you're looking just at, let's say, a population of dogs in America, whether for either line, it's like, or actually not in the show lines really. But when you're looking at the working dogs, you have to look to Europe for the most diversity, for the best dogs, for the most mentality, because only a certain type of dogs are being sold to, let's say, a country like the United States. When there's a certain type of buyer that is looking to compete at a high level, so only they will buy a certain type of dog.
Yeah, but they're probably also searching for that dog.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
that kind of affects the general breeding trends with the nerves and all that stuff. So you see a lot of those issues in a lot of dogs. Like I did a couple of apprenticeships and I got to see a handful of dogs, and for the most part, they have these nerve issues that you can see just from the way the dog is carrying itself. You can see the underlying nerves of the dog. The dogs are not sound dogs, but they walk on the field and it's a different dog.
yeah. It's like they explode on the training field when they see the field. They switch. It's like a totally different dog. Yeah,
Exactly,
it's like they were
exactly.
born to be there. I know what you
Right.
mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw a few dogs like that, and it's amazing actually.
Yeah, and they don't want to go upstairs. They don't want to go in the keller, or they're afraid of the different services. But you take the leash off and you say "foos," and it's a transformation. It's like Clark Kent took off his glasses and became Superman. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
and
it's
then
true.
those
It's
dogs find
yeah,
a lot of use
there's
in breeding, which is unfortunate.
it is. I agree. The majority shouldn't be like that. You know,
Yes, yes. That's
I
all I'm talking
agree.
about is the majority trend. Is like you have we having this conversation and having to discuss. So you're saying that I assure you, these dogs were also there. The good dogs were also there. It is, I think, a little bit frightening for an overall trend, the direction the boat's heading to.
Yeah, it's this. I think this is how should I say a topic for every generation. Uh,
Yes,
we all search for something that we don't have anymore, that or at least don't
yes,
have that
yes.
much,
The nostalgia.
right? Yeah, the nostalgia is strong.
Yeah,
Um, but I mean, for some things, if you look at it objectively, right?
yeah,
For some things,
yeah.
it's true. For some, it isn't. Um,
Yes.
it's. I think it's on every breeder to himself, or every person, competitor, whatever, to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
himself,
Absolutely. And God bless the breeders
to
that are
know
actually
how
paying
to
attention to this.
yeah to know how to differentiate from the like dogs that you want and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Um, because um, yeah, just try and learn and try to do the right thing. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
So doing the right thing for I pose a question to you. So if you were to rewrite a part of the protection rules, what would you alter to better test the true character of the dog?
uh, I would bring back stick hits. That's for sure.
Sure.
Um, otherwise, I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't change that much. A good judge can still see a lot. You know, it shows. It still shows. Um,
Yeah.
the nerves are for sure exposed under pressure.
Yes.
Um, and I think it doesn't. It actually doesn't take much. You can bean count, as you say. But it doesn't take much knowledge to see a good dog from a bad dog.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you said before, decide what category the dog goes in, and then find the points.
Yeah.
In theory, it's very simple, right?
Yes. But it's the amount of knowledge that you've amassed, looking at so many dogs over a period of time, is for you to find that category.
Yeah, sure. It's just that, I guess it depends on really what era we live in, right? Yes. And what we want.
Yeah. That is true.
Because of course opinions change.
Yes.
Change, and 30 years ago we wanted totally different things in obedience because we didn't know as much as we want today, and we want them because we found out how to do that, right? Yeah, today we want, we're going back to the basics, kind of.
Absolutely.
We want, like,
all the time,
natural healing, natural everything. We don't want just speed, and at least in theory that's what judges want on the FCI level. I know that because it's and 30 years ago we wanted for the dog to be fast, not necessarily as precise, but really fast, because
we're seeing the result of that at this point, of multiple generations of that decision made then.
Sure.
So what would you carry, going back to the trial, what would you carry with you when you look back at your performance and the quality of dogs?
What do you mean exactly? What would I carry?
So what would you carry in your mind from your performance? Like, of course, it was a historic moment. Like, we're always our worst critic, thinking, what, I could have done this better, or could have done that better, or that was good enough. That could definitely need some help, or that was excellent, And then the quality.
You mean about
of dogs,
my work?
About your work, bringing forward what you learned from that trial, because you learned a lot of things from working those dogs, with your personal experience as a breeder, not maybe as a helper, but as a breeder. You were exposed to things that most breeders would, give a left testicle for understanding.
So you want some inside info?
Yeah, just generalized info. I'll call you for the inside info.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I noticed that some lines I like better than others, because they have more traits that I like personally.
Yeah.
They have more of what I call the shepherd traits. And I not just from this championship. I also keeping an eye a little bit on this, because of course I'm a breeder, and I noticed that the Iso von der Murreiche line has. I really like that line. In terms
Henrik
of
from
mentality
Wolfsheim.
of the dogs, and Henrik Wolfsheim, yes, also. These two lines, I think, are, in terms of consistency and what I see, I like them. From the Henrik line, all good biters.
Big mouths.
The East, of course. The ISO line, very shepherd-like mentality, very shepherd-like behavior. Maybe not the fastest dogs, maybe not the all the exceptionals, but it's consistent.
The state of mind of the dogs consistently.
Yes, and you can and a lot of good dogs from this championship come from these lines. If you go and check, a lot of good dogs come. There were a lot of other dogs that were really good, but I didn't notice any consistency. It was one dog here who was the father of this dog, and one dog there, and maybe
there were maybe standouts from maybe an influence of the mother line or whatever. Nothing really.
It could be
about the father. Yeah. Because it always takes a great mother to produce a great dog.
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's the basis.
Yeah, exactly. So what would you say to the next generation of helpers that are bringing up dogs, not the WSV helpers, but the next generation of helpers that are bringing up dogs, the training helpers at the lowest level, which see the most number of dogs, from what you saw at the WSV, and what advice would you give to the breeders as a breeder yourself?
So that was a long question.
Let's
The
break it down.
helpers, I mean,
Let's do the helpers first.
don't, yeah. For the helpers, I would say don't go into rocket science. You know, if the dog has something in it, it will show it. Just be consistent and be fair to the dog. Let him grow. Let him show what
Yeah.
he has
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
him. Yeah. A lot of times you would be surprised if you just don't go into, you know, the details. And he didn't bark 53 times. I want him to bark 55 times. You know, just let him be a dog and allow him to grow. It's
Yeah.
a lot of times you will. This is maybe again for another podcast, but a lot of times if you have a dog, every dog has a limit, right?
Yes.
If you
Yes.
have a dog that has a limit at 85 points, like theoretically,
Yeah.
if you train him for 85 points, you will get 90 points or 95 points sooner than if you train him for 95 points, right?
I agree 100%. 100%. Because you impose
So
so
it's
much
not
extra
rocket
pressure on
science.
that dog.
Yes.
Yeah.
To the breeders, I don't know, just keep keep an
Don't
eye
bean
out
count.
for good dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to know what your female needs and search for that.
Right.
Right. Not search for the winning dog, but search for
Yeah.
the dog that has the things that can bring something that your female needs, and you can make your line stronger. And cross
Yeah.
your fingers, because in the end it's always a little bit about luck.
You got to leave it a little bit up to God at the end of the day.
Always.
So I really appreciate you joining me today. And I thank you for sharing your view from being on the line and having a firsthand seat to all of this. I'm sure a lot of people will gain a lot from your perspective.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, brother. I hope we can do this again soon about the multiple topics that we discussed on the sidebars.
There's a lot of material to be covered.
Yeah. All right, brother. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.